The blind Luna heard the assassin first. "Do not move," the whispered warning came from the only person in the throne room who could not see. Luna Helena Moonvale stood perfectly still beside the moon throne, her white oak staff resting lightly against the polished marble floor. Her clouded blue eyes never focused on anything, yet her expression changed with sudden urgency. 3 heartbeats, she tilted her head. "He is above us." Every royal guard instinctively looked toward the towering ceiling. They saw nothing. Alpha King Cedric Ashenwolf reached for his sword. "Where?" Helena's voice remained calm. "Behind the eastern beam." "He has already drawn the blade." The guards hesitated. The rafters appeared empty. Commander Garrick frowned. "There is no one there." A faint metallic click echoed through the silent chamber. Helena gasped. "Now!" Cedric leaped sideways. A black-clad assassin crashed through the ceiling, his poisoned dagger striking the moon throne exactly where the king had stood a heartbeat earlier. The impact shattered stone. Royal guards surged forward, steel rang. The assassin escaped through a shattered window before anyone could seize him. Silence swallowed the chamber. Every guard stared upward. No one had seen him, only Helena. Elder Rowan Silverbranch slowly entered the hall, his ancient face unusually grave. "The first attempt has failed." He looked toward Cedric, "but the final one has already begun." The king's expression hardened. "What do you mean?" "The moon listener has heard the opening note," Rowan's voice echoed beneath the vaulted ceiling. "The conspiracy hidden inside this palace will strike before the next full moon reaches its highest point." He lowered his staff. "You have less than 1 hour before the greatest betrayal in Nightbane's history begins. If you love emotional werewolf romance stories filled with hidden powers, alpha kings, courageous Luna queens, ancient moon magic, and unforgettable palace conspiracies, stay until the very end. The greatest truth Helena has ever heard has not yet been spoken." Cedric looked toward the woman everyone believed needed protection. For the first time, he wondered if the safest place in the kingdom had always been standing beside his blind Luna. Everyone pitied. Helena Moonvale never remembered the color of the flames. She remembered only the sound, the crackling timber, the desperate screams, the collapsing roof. She had been 5 years old when fire consumed the Moonvale estate. By the time the smoke cleared, her parents were gone. So was her sight. The royal healers saved her life. None could restore her vision. From that day forward, the kingdom spoke about Helena with quiet sympathy. What a tragedy. Such a beautiful child. What a helpless future. She heard every whispered sentence, every sigh, every expression of pity. No one realized the little girl was listening far more carefully than they imagined. When darkness became permanent, the rest of the world slowly grew louder. She learned the difference between morning rain and evening rain by the rhythm of each drop. She recognized every servant by the sound of their footsteps. Some shuffled with tired knees, some walked confidently. Others paused before speaking whenever they carried bad news. Even breathing became a language. Fear arrived in quick, uneven breaths. Honesty remained calm. Pride filled the lungs before every sentence lies. Lies always hesitated. Royal healer Miriam noticed the changes first. One afternoon, she deliberately entered Helena's room, wearing another servant's perfume. Before Miriam spoke, Helena smiled gently. "Good afternoon, Lady Miriam." The healer froze. "You knew it was me? You sound happy today." "And lavender cannot hide your heartbeat." Miriam stared at the child in silence. The accident had stolen one gift, something greater had awakened in its place. Years passed. Helena never complained about the darkness. Instead, she trained herself to master it. She memorized every hallway inside the palace by counting footsteps. 32 from her chamber to the eastern balcony, 47 to the royal library, 71 to the moon garden. She touched every stone wall, every carved doorway, every staircase. Soon she walked through the palace more confidently than nobles who relied upon perfect eyesight. Still, the whispers never disappeared. There goes the blind Luna. The king deserves someone stronger. How can she rule when she cannot even see? Lady Vivian Frost always delivered those insults with the sweetest smile. My dear Helena, if you ever need help dressing, I would be delighted. Helena smiled politely. Thank you. She never answered with anger, because she heard something hidden beneath Vivienne's perfect voice. Envy, sharp, cold, patient. The same feeling returned every time Vivienne stood near the throne. Helena remembered it. She never forgot voices or emotions. Alpha King Cedric always treated Helena differently. He never pitied her. He offered his arm without speaking, described gardens she could no longer see, read ancient books aloud during quiet evenings. He admired her courage, but even he believed he was protecting her. Neither of them realized how many times Helena had already protected him. One winter banquet, a servant approached with warm wine. Before anyone noticed, Helena quietly reached toward Cedric's wrist. Please, do not drink. The hall fell silent. Cedric lowered the cup. Why? The servant is crying. Everyone looked toward the young attendant. She appeared perfectly calm, but Helena listened beyond appearances. Her breathing broke every few seconds. Her heartbeat raced with terror. Royal guards searched the tray. Hidden beneath the silver goblet rested a tiny glass vial containing deadly poison. The servant collapsed in tears. My family. They threatened my family. She confessed everything. Another assassination had failed. No one understood how Helena had known. Several months later, a royal falcon landed upon the western balcony carrying what appeared to be an ordinary diplomatic letter. Before Cedric reached for it, Helena lifted her head. Do not open it. It smells wrong. The royal scribes exchanged confused glances. It is only parchment. Helena slowly shook her head. There is bitter almond beneath the wax. The court alchemist examined the seal. Hidden poison coated the edges. Opening the letter with bare hands would have been fatal. Again, the kingdom survived. Again. No one truly understood why. Rumors slowly spread throughout the palace. Some called Helena blessed. Others whispered that she possessed forbidden magic. She ignored both. She simply continued listening. Late each evening, she walked alone through the moon garden. There, beneath the oldest tree in the kingdom, Elder Rowan often waited. One quiet night, he placed Helena's white oak staff across his knees. Ancient lunar symbols carved into the wood shimmered beneath the moonlight. You have begun hearing them. Helena tilted her head. Hearing what? The spaces between words, the silence before betrayal, the fear hidden beneath confidence. She frowned gently. I thought everyone could, Rowan smiled sadly. No, they cannot. He traced one glowing symbol with weathered fingers. This staff belonged to the last moon listener. Helena's expression remained calm. I do not know what that means. You will. When the kingdom can no longer trust what it sees. It will depend upon the one person who never relied upon sight. A soft breeze carried the scent of night-blooming jasmine across the garden. Somewhere beyond the palace walls, someone watched, someone waited, someone planned. Helena slowly turned toward the darkness. I hear him. Rowan did not ask who. He already knew. Far away inside a forgotten chamber beneath the palace, Duke Lucien Blackthorn quietly unfolded an ancient map of secret passages leading directly beneath the moon throne. He smiled. The blind woman cannot stop what she cannot see. Hidden deep inside Helena's white oak staff, a silver inscription pulsed with faint moonlight. It had remained dormant for nearly 300 years. Only 5 words were carved into its heart. The moon listener never walks alone. The queen who could hear lies. The lie reached Helena before the voice did. It always did. A heartbeat changed first, then the breathing, then came the words. She stood beside Alpha King Cedric as the royal council assembled beneath the towering crystal dome of the Moon Palace. Dozens of nobles filled the chamber. Silk rustled. Boots echoed across polished marble. Ceremonial armor reflected the pale morning light. To everyone else, it sounded ordinary. To Helena, the room was screaming. She heard one heartbeat skipping every few seconds. Another breathing too slowly, someone else repeatedly tightening a leather glove to hide trembling fingers. Fear, guilt, anticipation. The emotions drifted through the chamber like invisible threads. Cedric leaned toward her. Are you uncomfortable? Helena smiled softly. No, I am listening. The meeting began. Duke Lucien Blackthorn unfolded a military report. Our northern border remains secure. Every noble nodded. Helena lowered her head. Her fingers tightened around her white oak staff. He was lying, not because of his words, because his pulse accelerated before he finished each sentence. The rhythm never matched his calm expression. She quietly whispered, "The border is not what worries him." Cedric glanced toward her. What does? He is afraid of something inside this room. Before Cedric could respond, Lady Vivian stepped forward carrying a silver tray, fresh tea, crystal cups, perfect manners. She poured Helena's cup first. So thoughtful, several nobles whispered. Helena never reached for it. Instead, she inhaled once, very gently, there, hidden beneath mountain herbs, a faint trace of crushed nightshade leaves, almost impossible to detect. Almost. She calmly turned her face toward Cedric. Please do not allow anyone to drink. The room froze. Vivian smiled elegantly. My dear Helena, surely you cannot smell poison from across the table, Helena answered peacefully. I cannot. I smelled your fear. Commander Garrick immediately seized the tray. The royal alchemist rushed forward. Moments later, his face turned pale. The Luna is correct. There is poison. Gasps filled the chamber. Vivian stepped backward. This is absurd. I know nothing about this. Helena slowly turned toward her. You began holding your breath the moment the tea entered the room. You already knew which cup mattered. Vivian's perfect composure cracked. Only for a heartbeat. But Helena heard it. Cedric did too. For the first time, he realized Helena had not guessed. She had known. Royal guards escorted Vivian away for questioning. The council dissolved into frightened whispers. Yet Helena remained strangely quiet. Something still felt wrong, very wrong. Beta Tristan approached the king. Your Majesty, that was incredible. Cedric nodded slowly. No. That was only the beginning. Later that afternoon, Cedric walked beside Helena through the moon garden. I have trusted your instincts before, he admitted. But today, I witnessed something I cannot explain. Helena laughed softly. I cannot explain it either. I only hear what others ignore. Cedric stopped walking. When did this begin? She touched the smooth wood of her staff. After the fire. At first I thought everyone heard emotions. I believed every child could tell when someone smiled without kindness. She lowered her eyes. I did not understand I was different, until people kept asking how I knew. Cedric gently took her hand. I should have believed you sooner. She smiled. You believed me. You simply believed your soldiers more. Those words carried no accusation, only truth, and somehow that hurt more. As sunset painted the palace in silver and gold, Elder Rowan waited inside the Hall of Ancients. Ancient candles surrounded a circular stone covered in forgotten lunar symbols. He motioned for Helena to step forward. The time has come. Cedric frowned. For what? The awakening. Rowan placed Helena's white oak staff upon the ancient stone. Moonlight poured through the ceiling. The carved symbols suddenly glowed. Silver light climbed slowly along the length of the staff. Then, the light spread across Helena's hands. Her hidden moon mark appeared beneath her sleeve. Not as a scar, as living moonlight. The entire hall vibrated. Cedric instinctively reached toward her. Helena! She remained perfectly calm. I can hear them. Hear who? The moon. Silence filled the chamber. Rowan closed his eyes. It is exactly as the prophecy described. He slowly opened an ancient scroll sealed with silver wax. For 300 years, the moon listener has not walked this world. The gift appears only when darkness enters the palace disguised as loyalty. Cedric stared at the glowing symbols. You mean this conspiracy was expected? Not expected, Rowan answered quietly. Foretold. He continued reading. When false eyes guard the throne, the moon shall send one who leads without sight. She will hear betrayal before steel is drawn. She will preserve the bloodline chosen beneath the first moon. Cedric looked toward Helena. Every impossible moment suddenly made sense. The poisoned wine, the deadly letter, the hidden assassin. Every life she had saved. Every danger she had sensed. None had been coincidence. She truly had been protecting the kingdom all along. Suddenly, Helena's peaceful expression changed. She raised one finger. Do not speak. The room fell silent. Her breathing slowed. Far away. Beyond the ancient doors, she heard armored boots, many of them, not marching, surrounding. Then, one heartbeat, steady, cold, patient. She recognized it immediately. Duke Lucien. Cedric's hand moved to his sword. What is he doing? Helena turned toward the great entrance. He is not coming alone. How many? She listened again. Dozens of synchronized footsteps echoed through the stone corridors. Hidden beneath them, she counted the slower rhythm of armored soldiers attempting to disguise themselves as palace servants. Her face grew pale. They are already inside. The massive bronze doors burst open. Commander Garrick rushed into the chamber, breathing hard. Your Majesty, the palace has been infiltrated. Before anyone could react, Helena whispered the words that chilled every soul inside the Hall of Ancients. I know. They arrived 8 minutes ago. The palace bells rang, once, twice, then without stopping. The ancient warning echoed through every corridor of Moon Palace. Guards sprinted toward the throne hall. Servants pulled frightened children into hidden chambers. Nobles abandoned their conversations as panic swept through the royal residence. Commander Garrick drew his sword. Lock every gate! No one leaves the palace! Helena turned her head. No, everyone looked at her. The attackers are already beyond the gates. They came inside long before the alarm. Silence. Then, the first scream. Steel clashed somewhere beneath the eastern tower. Cedric unsheathed his royal blade. Tristan. With me. Protect Helena. Beta Tristan shook his head. No, I protect the king. Helena smiled softly. You both protect the kingdom. She raised her white oak staff. I will show you where to go. Another explosion shook the palace. Dust drifted from the ceiling. Messenger wolves howled throughout the fortress. The coup had begun. Deep beneath the palace, Duke Lucien Blackthorn smiled. The blind Luna cannot stop what she cannot find. He unfolded the ancient tunnel map. Every secret passage beneath the Moon Palace appeared before him. Commander after commander emerged from the shadows. Each had secretly pledged loyalty to him years earlier. Begin. The conspirators moved, like ghosts, like poison spreading through veins. Back above, Cedric led the royal guard into the grand gallery. Long marble columns lined both sides. Moonlight spilled through towering windows. Everything appeared empty. Helena suddenly stopped walking. 3, Cedric frowned. What? Are 3 archers? Left balcony, behind the 3rd pillar. They have not released the arrows yet. Royal guards rushed upward. The assassins fired. Too late, the soldiers were already waiting. The attackers were disarmed within moments. One guard whispered, "How did she know?" No one answered. There was no explanation, only trust. The battle continued. Every hallway became uncertain. Every servant became a possible spy. Every shadow hid another threat. Helena closed her eyes, not to hide, to listen. Hundreds of footsteps echoed across the palace. She ignored most of them. Children running, guards shouting, servants crying. She searched for something else. Controlled breathing, disciplined movement. Professional killers. There. She pointed toward the western staircase. 6 men. Heavy armor. They're pretending to retreat. Cedric raised one hand. Do not chase them. The guards stopped instantly. Seconds later, the staircase collapsed. Massive stone blocks crashed downward, where the royal guard would have been standing, a deadly trap. Commander Garrick stared at the shattered stairs. We would all be dead. Helena lowered her staff. They wanted you to hurry. They counted on fear. Cedric looked at her with growing disbelief. For decisions she made saved lives. Not once, again and again. Far below, Lucien's smile slowly disappeared. Another messenger knelt before him. My lord. The western ambush failed. The balcony archers failed. The collapsing staircase failed. Lucien crushed the parchment inside his fist. Impossible. Someone is predicting every move, Lady Vivienne answered quietly. Not someone. The Luna. Lucien's eyes narrowed. Then kill her. I do not care how many soldiers stand beside her. The moon listener dies tonight. Back inside the palace, Helena suddenly inhaled sharply. Her heartbeat quickened. Cedric noticed immediately. What is it? She whispered. The nursery. Every parent in the room turned pale. The children. They are going after the children. Without waiting for orders. Cedric ran. The royal guard followed. Helena walked behind them with remarkable calm. She counted every doorway, every corner, every heartbeat. Outside the royal nursery, everything appeared peaceful. Too peaceful. Helena lifted her hand. No one opened that door. A captain frowned. The children are inside, I know. So are the assassins. The guards exchanged uncertain glances. Cedric trusted her completely. He kicked open the side entrance instead. 3 masked killers immediately sprang from hiding. The main doorway exploded inward. A deadly rain of poisoned darts crossed the room, exactly where the royal guard would have entered. The attackers had prepared for the obvious approach, not Helena's. Within moments, the assassins were overwhelmed. Every child survived. One frightened little girl ran toward Helena. "You saved us." Helena knelt carefully. "No, we saved one another." She gently brushed tears from the child's face. Behind them, Cedric watched silently, his wolf stirred deep within him. Not with battle fury, with admiration. He had always believed strength meant standing before danger. Helena proved true strength sometimes meant hearing danger before anyone else could. Elder Rowan arrived carrying an ancient silver scroll. "It is happening," Cedric turned. "What is? The Moon Listener is no longer protecting only you." He looked toward Helena. "She is guiding an entire kingdom." Suddenly, the palace trembled. A deep rumble echoed beneath the throne room. Stone cracked. Ancient doors slowly opened by themselves. Lucien stepped into the grand hall surrounded by dozens of armored traitors. His voice thundered across the chamber. "Alpha King Cedric! You cannot defend a throne led by a blind woman. Look around. Half your palace already belongs to me." Cedric stepped forward. "No," he pointed toward Helena. "You misunderstood from the beginning." Lucien laughed. "Misunderstood what?" Cedric smiled for the first time since the attack began. "You believed vision comes from eyes." He looked toward Helena. "I finally understand. My Luna has been the only one truly seeing this kingdom." Lucien's expression darkened. "Kill them," traitors charged. Helena lifted her staff. She listened. One heartbeat, then another, then dozens. She spoke calmly. Left. Cedric moved. A hidden blade missed him. Forward. He struck. Another assassin fell unconscious. 3 steps right. He obeyed. A spear grazed harmlessly past his shoulder. The royal guard quickly realized what was happening. They stopped relying on sight. They followed Helena's voice. "Behind you. Low. Now." Every warning arrived a heartbeat before each attack. The impossible became reality. An entire army fought with the blind Luna as its eyes. Even Lucien hesitated. For the first time in years, fear entered his heartbeat. Helena heard it. She turned toward him. "You already know. This kingdom no longer belongs to deception." Cedric stood beside her. Not shielding her, standing with her. His sword reflected the silver light pouring through the shattered ceiling. He raised the ancient blade toward every loyal warrior. "No more doubt. No more fear. We fight together." Outside, thousands of wolves answered with one united howl. The palace no longer stood divided. The kingdom had finally found the one person who could lead everyone through the darkness. And the battle for the moon throne had only just begun. The last sword fell in silence, not because every enemy had been defeated, because every lie had. Morning light poured through the shattered crystal ceiling of the grand hall. Broken marble covered the floor. Royal banners hung in torn strips. The palace still bore the scars of battle, but it still stood. Outside the gates, thousands of wolves from every allied pack waited without speaking. Inside, the fate of the kingdom would be decided. Duke Lucien Blackthorn stood in chains before the Moon Council. Lady Vivian knelt beside him, her elegant gown stained with dust and ash. Commander Garrick removed his own ceremonial sword and laid it upon the marble floor. "I failed my king. I failed my queen. I allowed ambition to silence my honor." He lowered his head. "I accept whatever judgment the crown declares." No one answered immediately. Every eye turned toward Helena. She stood quietly beside Cedric. Her white oak staff rested gently against the floor. Although she could not see the faces surrounding her, She heard every heartbeat. Fear, relief, shame, hope, the entire kingdom breathed as one. Elder Rowan stepped into the center of the chamber carrying the ancient scroll of judgment. For centuries, he began, our laws have punished betrayal. He slowly closed the scroll. But today, the moon asks something greater. He turned toward Helena. What do you hear? The hall became perfectly still. Helena listened. Lucien's heartbeat, still proud, still calculating. Vivienne's heartbeat, broken, filled with regret. Garrick's heartbeat, heavy with guilt. Then, something unexpected, the frightened heartbeat of hundreds of innocent families who had unknowingly depended upon those now standing in chains. Helena spoke softly. If we answer hatred with hatred, the children will inherit only more hatred. Cedric looked at her. She continued, the guilty must face justice, but justice should heal what deception has broken. Silence followed. Not disagreement, reflection. Lucienne laughed bitterly. You speak of mercy? You should hate me. I stole years of your life. I made the kingdom believe you were weak. Helena slowly turned toward his voice. You did. But if I become the person you wanted me to become, you win. For the first time, Lucian lowered his eyes, not from fear, from shame. Elder Rowan raised his staff. The judgment of the Moon Council is final. He faced Lucienne. You will never again hold title, command, or noble privilege. You will spend the remainder of your life rebuilding every village your conspiracy endangered. You will restore homes. You will cultivate abandoned fields. You will rebuild schools. Every sunrise will remind you that true leadership serves before it rules. He turned toward Lady Vivian. You poisoned trust with envy. You will devote your life to caring for those whose suffering you ignored. The orphan sanctuaries will become your home. Finally, he faced Commander Garrick. You betrayed your oath, Garrick nodded. I know. But you also chose truth before the battle ended. You shall earn forgiveness through faithful service. Tears filled the commander's eyes. I will. Royal guards quietly escorted the prisoners away. No cheers followed. Only solemn understanding. Justice had been served, not through vengeance, through restoration. When the chamber emptied, only Cedric and Helena remained beneath the broken dome. Silver sunlight poured across the marble. Cedric slowly removed his crown. He placed it upon the floor. Next came the sword of Ashenwolf. Finally, he unclasped the black royal cloak resting upon his shoulders. The mighty Alpha King lowered himself onto one knee before the woman everyone had once pitied. His armor remained scarred from battle. Dark stains covered the steel where countless blows had struck him while protecting the palace. His voice trembled. I spent years believing I was your shield. He smiled sadly. The truth is, you have always been mine. Helena reached toward the sound of his breathing. Her fingertips gently found his face. She smiled. You are crying. Cedric laughed quietly through tears. I suppose I am. I trusted what my eyes showed me. I trusted reports. I trusted appearances. He bowed his head. And all along, the only person who truly saw this kingdom could not see it with her eyes. A single tear slipped onto Helena's hand. I should have trusted your voice the very first time you warned me. I should have believed your heart before every piece of evidence. I cannot return the years stolen from you, but I promise. I will never again mistake sight for wisdom. Helena gently lifted his chin. You already have. She placed his hand over her own. Trust is not proven by never making mistakes. It is proven by choosing truth when the mistake is finally revealed. Cedric closed his eyes. The ancient mate bond flared warmly between them, not with overwhelming power, with peace around them. Every Alpha King slowly entered the hall. Then every Luna, then every elder, without a single command. They all bowed before Helena, not because she had defeated an army, because she had led an entire kingdom through darkness without ever seeing the path herself. Elder Rowan smiled. The prophecy is complete. The Moon Listener has done what no warrior could. Cedric rose to his feet, not ahead of Helena, not behind her, beside her. He gently offered his arm. She accepted it with quiet confidence. Together, they walked toward the palace balcony, where an entire kingdom waited below. For the first time, the people did not see a blind Luna. They saw the woman who had taught them the true meaning of vision. 1 year later, no child in the kingdom of Ashenwolf feared the sound of palace bells. They no longer announced betrayal, they announced celebration. The secret tunnels beneath the Moon Palace had become museums preserving the memory of a kingdom that had survived deception without surrendering its compassion. The halls once haunted by whispered conspiracies now echoed with music, laughter, and the voices of children visiting from every allied pack. At the center of that transformation stood Helena Moonvale. She had not regained her sight. She never needed to. Her greatest gift had never been seeing the world. It had always been understanding it. Under the light of the year's brightest full moon, the leaders of every kingdom gathered inside the restored hall of the first moon. Alpha Kings, Luna Queens, Pack Elders, Royal Guards, Healers, Citizens. No one stood above another. Only one circular platform rested beneath the ancient moon tree, whose silver blossoms glowed like stars. Elder Rowan stepped forward carrying the crown of moon listening, an ancient circlet of white silver woven with crystal leaves. For centuries, he declared, our ancestors believed greatness belonged to those who saw the farthest. He smiled toward Helena. The moon has taught us something wiser. It belongs to those who listen the deepest. He gently placed the crown upon Helena's head. The moment the silver touched her hair, moonlight flooded the temple. The blossoms above opened all at once. Soft silver petals drifted through the air, across the gathered kingdoms. Every wolf lifted its head toward the sky. Not in challenge, in unity, Cedric stood beside his queen. He took her hand with quiet pride. My people once believed I protected this kingdom. He looked across the great hall. The truth is that the kingdom has always been safest beside the woman who could hear danger before any sword was drawn. Helena smiled warmly. And today, may every child know that courage is never measured by what we lack, but by what we choose to become. Thunderous applause filled the temple. Nearby, royal healer Miriam placed Helena's white oak staff inside the Hall of Honor, where future generations would remember the woman who had guided an entire kingdom without ever seeing its roads. Far beyond the palace, Duke Lucien, Lady Vivienne, and the remaining conspirators continued restoring villages, schools, bridges, and orphan sanctuaries damaged by their own ambition. Every rebuilt home reminded the kingdom that justice achieved its highest purpose when it repaired what hatred had broken. As the ceremony ended, thousands of wolves raised one final united howl beneath the full moon. No voice called for vengeance, no heart sought revenge, only peace, only trust, only home. If you had stood where Cedric once stood, would you have trusted what your eyes revealed, or the quiet voice everyone else ignored? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story inspired you, Please like, share, and subscribe for more unforgettable werewolf romance stories filled with courage, destiny, redemption, and the enduring power of love beneath the moon.